225. If I'm going to change it to radians, I'm going to multiply it by pi over 180. 180 degrees. Okay, so you see how, like, I have degrees in the numerator and the denominator, those will cancel. That's what I was talking about before. Like, that's how I remember what to multiply by. Okay, so in your calculator, let's put in 225 divided by 180. And then change it back into a fraction. So 225 divided by 180. We aren't going to put in the pi because we're leaving it in terms of pi. So we need a pi in our answer. 225 divided by 180, change it to a fraction, and I get 5/4. So my answer is 5/4 pi radians. Okay, so that's all you're going to do. So number 4, this time on number 4, we aren't going to leave it in terms of pi. It says round to 3 decimal places. So 200 degrees, we're going to change it to radians. So we're going to put in that entire fraction. 200 parentheses pi divided by 180. And the pi symbol is on your calculator. It's on the right side under the arrows, kind of down like halfway. So 200 parentheses pi divided by 180. We're going to round to 3 decimal places. So let's see. I forgot to round on my notes. So let's see, 3.491. Okay, number 5, we're going to go from radians to degrees. So we're going to take pi over 3. We're going to convert it to degrees. So we're going to have degrees on top, radians on bottom. So what happens is, see how you have a pi in the numerator and the denominator? Those will cancel out. And so now I have a negative 180 degrees divided by 3. Okay, so that would give me negative 60 degrees. Alright, so that's how you convert from degrees to radians and vice versa. The next part, we're going to talk about complementary and supplementary angles. You've talked about this, pretty sure in middle school, and you should have done it in geometry last year too. But we're going to do it with degrees and also in radians. You've never done it with radians before. So on your next page of notes, it talks about what complementary is and what supplementary is. The way I remember it is complementary, and I'm going to spell this wrong. Complementary. I had a kid my first year at Borger that taught me a way to remember it, which was really cool. The C in complementary can be changed to a 9. So we're talking about 90 degrees. These are 2 angles that add up to be 90 degrees. So that's a cool way to remember it. 90 degrees, if you think about a circle, right? We said 180 degrees was pi, right? If I go to 90 degrees, if I go half that much, it'll be pi over 2. I'm going to cut that in half, right? So on your notes, I would put down, they already have that it's 90 degrees. I would go ahead and put down that in radians, that would be pi over 2. Okay. Supplementary. Supplementary. Supplementary angles, if I use the same trick that I use with complementary, the S in supplementary can be changed to an 8, so 180 degrees. Okay, I thought it was a cool way to remember it. So these two angles are going to add up to be 180 degrees, and I would write outside on your notes there that that is the same thing as pi radians. Okay, so 180 degrees if we're talking about degrees, and pi if we're talking about radians. Alright, so let's try some examples. Number 7, we're talking about degrees, and we want to find the complement of a 46 degree angle. So complementary angles add up to be 90 degrees. So we're going to take 90 and we're going to subtract 46. Okay, that'll give you what? 44 degrees? Okay, so that's my answer. That would be the complement of this angle. Okay. Number 8, find the supplement of 124 degree angle. So supplementary angles add up to be 180 degrees. So I'm going to take 180 and subtract my angle. 180 minus 124. Okay, that gives you 46 degrees. So that's my answer. Okay, and y'all have done angles, or degrees, I'm sorry, since middle school. So there's not a lot of examples of those. I think y'all have got it pretty good. The rest of these examples are going to be in radians. So let's talk about that. I'll do a couple and then I'll let y'all do the rest and we'll check. So let's see, number 9. We're going to find the complement of pi over 12. Okay, so complement is 90 degrees. It's also pi over 2 radians. So we're going to take pi over 2 minus our angle, pi over 12, and figure out what the complement would be. Okay, and I like to leave my answer in terms of pi. If it doesn't specify, always leave it in terms of pi. That way you have an exact answer. You're not rounding. So in your calculator, to bypass the whole pi thing, you're going to put in 1/2 minus 1/12, and then our answer is still going to be in terms of pi. Okay. So what is 1/2 minus 1/12? Change it to a fraction, and you get 5/12. Okay. So my complement would be 5 pi over 12 radians. Let's do a supplement. So let's skip 10 for now. I'll let y'all do it here in a minute and we can check. Number 11, we want to find the supplement of 5 pi over 6. So supplement is 180 degrees, which is the same thing as pi. Right? So we're going to take pi minus 5 pi over 6. And I want you to leave your answer in terms of pi. Okay, so you're going to put in 1 minus 5 over 6. We're just going to leave the pi out of it. Okay, so put that in your calculator, change it back to a fraction. You get 1/6. So my answer would be pi over 6. Right, so go ahead and do the other 3 problems and then we'll check. So on number 10, you should have gotten pi over 3. Number 12, you should have gotten pi over 3. And 13, I got negative pi over 3. They're all pi over 3s. Not bad then. Okay. Okay. Last part of your notes, we're going to actually sketch angles. This won't be on your worksheet today. You'll do it later, probably whenever we learn more about radians and degrees with that unit circle. But here we'll just kind of talk about it. if I have a positive 120 degrees, it's going to be in between 90 and 180, right? What, like 60 degrees and 30 degrees from 90 and 60 from 180, right? So, we're always going to have that initial side on the x-axis, right? So you can go ahead and draw that. And then you want to go 120 degrees counterclockwise since it's positive. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to go past 90, about 30 degrees. So this is going to be my 120 degree angle. So you should be 30 degrees past the 90 mark and about 60 degrees from 180. So it should be closer to that 90 degrees, if that makes sense. And we'll talk about it more later, but hopefully that makes sense. So if I have a negative 120 degree angle, I'm still going to start out with my initial side on the x-axis, right? But I'm going to go clockwise this time. So I'm going to go clockwise past that axis in about 30 degrees past that. That'll be negative 120. Okay, number 2, I'm going to sketch an angle in radians. So you have to know what pi over 4 is. If you think about it, 90 degrees, okay, we said 360 degrees was 2 pi, 180 degrees was pi. If we cut that in half, 90 degrees was pi over 2, right? Cut that in half again, then you have pi over 4. So we're cutting this angle in half again to get pi over 4. So we have our initial side on the x-axis, and pi over 4 is going to be in between those two. Okay, it's actually a 45 degree angle if we're talking about degrees. Okay, on the next one, I'm still going to start out on the x-axis, but if I have a negative angle, I'm going to go clockwise. So I'm going to go clockwise halfway between those two axes. Okay. Like I said, we'll dive more into actual angle sketches. You won't have to sketch them, but you'll get to where you know where pi over 4 is, where 5 pi over 6 is. You'll actually have to memorize all those, and it's not as bad as it sounds. Okay, but you won't have to do it on your worksheet today. So yeah, keep those notes out for your worksheet if you need help. You can also email me if you need help anytime. Doesn't matter. I'll email you back. But yeah, you'll have a good